So many of us have been told the same story since childhood, a story that says love is something we must wait for, something another person must deliver to us, something that only comes when we are chosen, when we are good enough, when we are worthy in the eyes of someone else. And so we grow up chasing that story, running after it with outstretched hands, believing that our lives cannot begin until it is fulfilled. But that story has stolen too much time, too much joy, too much peace. It is time to put down that book and write another. Your love story does not have to begin with someone else's smile. It does not have to revolve around their approval, their presence, or their promises. Your love story can begin here. With you, it can begin when you decide that your reflection is enough to inspire poetry, that your laughter is reason enough to celebrate, that your flaws are not curses but proof of your humanity. It begins when you pick up the pen and say, I will no longer be written by someone else's hand, I will write myself. Rewriting your love story with yourself means no longer apologizing for needing care, for needing rest, for needing joy. It means you stop begging for scraps of affection from those who will never give you the fullness you deserve. It means you learn to pour love into your own cup until it overflows, until no rejection, no silence, no abandonment can empty it. It means you stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect partner, the perfect ending, and you create beauty with what you have now, your own heart, your own voice, your own soul. There will be those who do not understand. They will say, why love yourself so fiercely? Why stand so tall when you could lean on another? But what they cannot see is that the love you give yourself is not selfishness. It is the foundation. Without it, every relationship trembles. Without it, every promise shatters. Without it, you are at the mercy of every wandering affection. But with it, you are free. You are free to love without fear of losing yourself, free to walk away when love dishonors you, free to stand whole in your truth whether someone stays or someone leaves. Rewriting your love story with yourself also means forgiving the chapters you wish you could erase. It means looking back at the moments you gave too much, stayed too long, or silenced your own voice, and instead of carrying shame you carry lessons. It means treating your past self with compassion, not condemnation. It means seeing every wound as proof that you survived, and every scar as evidence that you are still here. And as you write this story, you begin to glow differently. You walk differently. You speak differently. You are no longer the character waiting to be rescued. You are the author creating your own freedom. You begin to see that the greatest love story was never about being completed by another, but about returning to yourself and finding that you were whole all along. The world tells you that love must come from outside, but the truth is this: the longest, deepest, most faithful relationship you will ever have is with yourself. Every other love will be shaped by the way you hold your own heart, and when you choose to hold it with reverence, tenderness, and power, you change not only your own story, but the story of love itself. For too long you may have read a story that was never yours, a story that taught you to wait for someone else to arrive before you could begin your life. You were taught to look at yourself as incomplete, to believe that love was a prize handed to you by another's approval, a fragile gift that could be taken away at any moment. And so you lived in suspense, waiting for the right chapter, the right character, the right ending. But life is not meant to be lived in waiting rooms. Life is meant to be lived now. And if you are brave enough, you can turn the page and begin again. Rewriting your love story with yourself begins with a decision. A decision to look at yourself, not as a project to fix, not as a puzzle missing pieces, but as a masterpiece still unfolding. It begins when you decide to stop speaking to yourself in the cruel voice of doubt and to begin speaking in the tender voice of compassion. It begins when you release the idea that someone else's love will rescue you, and you begin to rescue yourself. The world will not always applaud this choice. Some will call it arrogance. Some will say you have become too independent, too bold, too difficult to please. But that is only because they mistook your silence for agreement, your neediness for permission, your lack of boundaries for access. And when you begin to love yourself truly and deeply, they will see doors closing that were once wide open. They will see you walking away from tables where you once begged for crumbs. They will see you choosing peace instead of chaos, joy instead of suffering, dignity instead of desperation. And they may resist it, but do not be shaken. Their discomfort is not your burden to carry. Loving yourself enough to rewrite your own story does not mean you will never feel lonely. There will still be nights when silence feels heavy, days when your reflection seems unfamiliar, moments when you ache for the presence of another. But in those moments you will also discover a new kind of strength. The strength to sit with yourself without fear, the strength to find comfort in your own company, the strength to know that loneliness is not proof of unworthiness. Loneliness is only an invitation to lean deeper into the relationship you are building with yourself. When you love yourself, you begin to listen to your own needs. You hear your body when it whispers for rest instead of pushing it to exhaustion for the sake of someone else's approval. You hear your spirit when it cries for stillness, instead of drowning it in noise to avoid the truth. You hear your heart when it longs for joy, instead of silencing it to keep peace with those who do not value you. You begin to honor yourself as you would honor a beloved friend, and in doing so, you realize you should never have treated yourself as anything less. And what happens when you begin to live this way? The relationships around you shift. Some fall away because they were never built on respect, only on your willingness to accept less. Others deepen because they are drawn to the authenticity you now embody. You no longer measure your worth by how much love you can win from another. You measure it by the love you refuse to withhold from yourself. That shift changes everything. It changes who you allow near your heart. It changes how you walk into a room. It changes the kind of love you are willing to receive. Rewriting your love story with yourself means learning to forgive yourself, forgiving the times you stayed too long in places that hurt you, forgiving the moments when you silenced your voice out of fear of rejection, forgiving the seasons when you believed you were unworthy. That forgiveness is not weakness, it is freedom. Because until you forgive yourself, you are chained to the past, rereading chapters that cannot be changed. Forgiveness is the ink that allows you to begin again, to write new pages without shame weighing down your hand. It also means learning to celebrate yourself, not waiting for others to recognize your brilliance but recognizing it for yourself, not waiting for applause to validate your achievements but applauding yourself for showing up, for enduring, for trying again when the world told you to give up. Celebration is an act of love, and when you practice it for yourself, you stop depending on others to remind you that you are worthy of joy. Self-love will teach you patience. You will learn that you do not need to rush into relationships out of fear of being alone. You will learn that waiting is not wasted time when that waiting is filled with growth, healing, and discovery. You will learn that choosing yourself is not a consolation prize, it is the grandest gift. You will learn to trust the timing of your life, knowing that the love you have written with yourself prepares you for every love you will ever share with another. This rewriting is not a single act. It is not one bold declaration and then silence. It is a daily practice. It is in the way you speak to yourself each morning. It is in the choices you make each day. It is in the boundaries you set, the rest you take, the joy you allow, the truth you honor. Each choice is a line in your story, and each line builds a narrative of self-respect, self-compassion, and self-celebration. And do not think that by loving yourself you close the door on love with others. No, you open the door wider. You open it with clarity, with confidence, with dignity. You no longer invite others to complete you. You invite them to complement you. You no longer seek love out of desperation. You share it out of abundance. You no longer cling to those who harm you. You release them with grace, because you know that your story does not depend on their presence. Think of the power in this truth. When you love yourself, you teach others how to love you. You show them by your actions what you will and will not accept. You show them by your example that love must be respectful, that love must be kind, that love must be truthful. And if they cannot meet you there, you walk away, not because you do not long for connection, but because you refuse to betray yourself for the sake of it. Rewriting your love story with yourself means you no longer compare your journey to anyone else's. You no longer measure your worth by who is beside you, by who chose you, by who stayed. You measure it by your own truth, your own growth, your own joy. You begin to see that comparison was always a thief, stealing the beauty of your unique path. And when you let it go, you find peace in the rhythm of your own life. You will notice changes in the smallest of things. You will notice that you smile more easily, not because someone gave you a reason, but because joy flows freely from within you. You will notice that you stand taller, not because someone lifted you, but because you lifted yourself. You will notice that you speak more boldly, not because someone granted you permission, but because you finally granted it to yourself. These small changes build into great ones, and soon your story is unrecognizable from the one you once believed you had to live. It is not always easy. Some days, rewriting your love story with yourself will feel like carving words into stone with bare hands. Some days the old story will call to you, whispering that it is safer to stay in what you know, even if it hurts, even if it diminishes you. But do not listen. Do not return to pages that do not honor you. Keep writing. Keep choosing yourself. Keep standing in the truth that you are worthy of love, especially your own. And as the story unfolds, you will see something miraculous. You will see that the love you have cultivated within yourself begins to shape the world around you. The people you meet will treat you differently because you treat yourself differently. The opportunities you find will reflect the confidence you carry. The life you live will blossom in the soil of your own self-respect. You will see that by loving yourself, you have not only rewritten your story, you have rewritten your destiny. Because the truth is this: the greatest love story you will ever live is not the one where someone else sweeps you away, but the one where you finally return to yourself. The one where you finally stop waiting for someone else's pen, someone else's script, someone else's ending. The one where you take hold of your own hand, your own heart, your own power, and you say, "I am the love I have been searching for all along." Every day you wake up, you are given a blank page. Some pages are filled with routines, some with conversations, some with silence, but all of them are yours. What you choose to write upon them matters. When you wake and whisper harsh words to yourself, you stain the page before you even begin. When you rise and offer yourself kindness, you give the day a melody to follow. You have more power than you realize because every page of your life is still being written by your choices, your voice, your love. Too often we hand that pen to others. We let their opinions, their rejections, their temporary presence decide the direction of our story. We let them tell us whether we are beautiful, whether we are worthy, whether we are enough. And in doing so, we forget that they do not hold the ink of our lives. We do. Rewriting your love story with yourself is taking that pen back and saying, "You may play a role in my story, but you will not write my worth." It begins with small acts of devotion. Making a meal for yourself with the same care you would for someone you adore. Dressing in clothes that make you feel alive even if no one else will see. Taking yourself on a walk, on a date, on an adventure, because your presence is enough to deserve joy. These are not trivial things, they are sacred. They are the threads that weave together a story of self-respect, a story that does not wait for another's love to feel complete. And as you practice, you will notice your heart changing. You will notice that the need to chase validation begins to fade. You will notice that the desperate hunger for acceptance grows quieter. You will notice that you begin to feel full, not because someone filled you, but because you learned how to feed your own soul. That fullness becomes a shield. It protects you from those who would exploit your longing. It protects you from settling for half-hearted love. It protects you from giving away pieces of yourself just to feel whole. Some will not understand this change. They may call you distant. They may say you have become cold. But do not confuse their discomfort with your truth. What they call cold is your clarity. What they call distant is your boundary. What they call difficult is your refusal to shrink for their comfort. Rewriting your love story with yourself is not about pleasing everyone. It is about honoring the person you must live with for all your days. And when you honor yourself, life begins to shift. You begin to draw in people who recognize your worth because you have recognized it first. You begin to attract relationships that match the love you give yourself. You begin to release those who cannot rise to meet you. And though their absence may sting, it will also free you. Free you to step into relationships where you do not have to beg to be seen. Free you to love without chains of fear. Free you to walk with dignity into every chapter. There will be moments when you stumble back into old patterns. Moments when you hear the echo of that old story telling you that you are too much, or not enough, or unlovable as you are. Do not despair. Every great story has moments of doubt. What matters is not that you fall, but that you rise again. That you pick up the pen once more and continue. That you remind yourself that this is your story and no lie from the past can erase the truth of your worth. Loving yourself means tending to your wounds instead of hiding them. It means admitting when you are tired, when you are hurting, when you are afraid, and offering yourself compassion instead of criticism. It means recognizing that strength is not the absence of pain but the courage to feel it and still move forward. It means giving yourself permission to heal at your own pace without comparing your journey to anyone else's. As you heal, you will see that your love story with yourself is not one of perfection. It is not about always feeling confident, always feeling radiant, always feeling unshaken. It is about choosing yourself again and again, even when you feel broken, even when you feel small, even when the world tells you otherwise. It is about staying loyal to yourself in the moments when it would be easier to abandon who you are. And when you choose yourself like this, you begin to create a love that no one can take from you. It becomes your anchor when storms come. It becomes your compass when you feel lost. It becomes your light when darkness surrounds you. No matter who comes or who goes, that love remains. It cannot be taken because it was never borrowed. It cannot be stolen because it was never given away. It cannot be destroyed because it was built by you for you within you. Imagine a world where more people lived this way. Imagine friendships formed not out of loneliness but out of abundance. Imagine relationships grounded not in fear of being alone but in the joy of being together. Imagine families where self-love was taught as a foundation instead of sacrifice for acceptance. That world begins with you. With your decision to rewrite your love story with yourself, you plant seeds that others will see, and perhaps they too will choose to write in you. The truth is, no one else can do this for you. No one else can decide how you will speak to yourself, how you will treat yourself, how you will honor yourself. It is your choice, your responsibility, your freedom. And though it may feel daunting at first, it is the most liberating act you will ever commit. Because once you know how to love yourself, you will never again settle for anything less than respect, tenderness, and truth. So let your story unfold. Let it be filled with pages of laughter that you gave yourself permission to feel. Let it be filled with moments of rest you allowed without guilt. Let it be filled with triumphs that no one else applauded but you cherished anyway. Let it be filled with the beauty of your becoming, not in the shadow of another but in the fullness of yourself. And as you continue, as you turn page after page, you will see that this love story is not about waiting for a happy ending. It is about living with love every day, every moment, every choice. It is about finding happiness in the middle of the story, not at the end. It is about realizing that the greatest love story was never one you had to search for. It was always the one you could write for yourself. So when you put down this page and step back into the rhythm of your days, remember this. You are not waiting for love to arrive, you are living it now. You are the author, the ink, the heartbeat of this story. Every step you take in tenderness toward yourself rewrites the ending. Every word of kindness you speak into your own soul strengthens the foundation. And every choice to honor your worth lights a fire that no rejection, no abandonment, no silence can ever extinguish. Do not wait to be chosen, you are already chosen. Do not wait to be completed, you are already whole. Do not wait for someone else to write your story. The pen has always been in your hand. Write boldly, write bravely. Write a love story so fierce, so true, so radiant, that the world cannot help but learn from the way you treat yourself. Because the greatest revolution is this: to stand in front of the mirror, to see yourself fully, and to say without hesitation, I am my own first love. And from that love, I will shape a life that honors me.